questions, please hit the raise your hand function and we'll call on you. We'll start with David.
What's up, Brandon? Happy Founders Day. Just wanted to know how you're going to celebrate today and if at all, and just what Omega Psi Phi means to you. Yeah,
well, first off, I want to say thank you and root to the bros out there, all the good bros out there. But, because of COVID, it's kind of hard to kind of get, away from the facility and do things. But I'll definitely be there in spirit, whatever happened. And Omega Psi Phi, it means a lot to me. About 6 years ago, I had a mentor who kind of led me to Omega. And ever since then, I've been able to see the brotherhood and things such as giving back to the community and things like that. So Omega means a lot to me, and rest his soul. He died about 2 years ago. So, yeah, it means a lot to me.
Jimmy Himes, then Gustavo.
Brendan, you got a call from Peyton Manning the other day congratulating you on a scholar athlete being a finalist. What did that mean to you?
It definitely meant a lot. Throughout the years I've been in college, all the hard work I put in the classroom and on the field, just to kind of see that pay off and get the recognition, it meant a lot to me, and I was very excited to get that. And my family's proud of me, so it was exciting.
Had you talked to Peyton Manning before?
No, I've never talked to him before that video here.
So when you see that video, what's going through your mind?
It was great to see a VFL to be able to talk to me, and also somebody who's got it in that fraternity, and just to be able to, for them to be able to talk to me, it was great. Were you aware that Peyton Manning was in that fraternity of the scholar athletes? To be honest, I wasn't until I seen the video. So it was good to find out, and I'm glad I'm a finalist. So it's great.
Gustavo.
Brandon, congratulations first of all on your award. And how important was to have this open week to kind of work on fundamentals, to get things back on track, especially with things not going well in the past couple of games?
Yeah, well, it's been big for us. This week when we didn't play, fundamentals was a big part of us. We were able to get kind of back to the basics and kind of also bring some of the young guys along. So that was kind of the two things that we were able to work on this bye week.
And how sad it is to not be able to play at Inland Stadium in the month of November. The first time since 1891. How much you guys going to miss playing at home in this crucial moment in the SEC?
Yeah, we definitely going to miss it. Anytime we get to play at Neyland, it's always a fun time. But, we also got to focus on what we need to do to win as well.
We'll go to Vince, then back to Jimmy.
Brandon, couple things wanted one at a time. First, how did you find out that you guys weren't going to play against Texas A&M? Did you find out on social media, team meeting? How did you find that out?
Well, we kind of found it out right before practice. So once we found that out, we adjusted on the fly and we were able to, get things going and kind of focus on fundamentals like I talked about earlier. So that's kind of how we adjusted.
And did you have an opportunity during this unexpected open week, do you think, to maybe come together as a group of five and try to get some chemistry, some camaraderie with a unit of five working extra reps together?
Yeah, most definitely. Anytime you have a week like this is where you have time to kind of talk about some of the things that you wouldn't be able to talk about in a normal week, such as technique, kind of how the guy next to you works. And so it was a great week to do that. And, we kind of got back to the fundamentals, like I said, yeah.
Brandon, have you guys been able to pinpoint why you have not played quite as well in the second half? You've had some really good first halves, including Arkansas and including Georgia. What's happened in the second half? Do you know?
For me, I would say the biggest thing when we watch film is execution. I mean, that's the biggest thing, as far as being able to do our job and our assignment, play in and play out, that's the biggest thing. So actually during the bye week, that's kind of one of the things that we focused on and harped on the most. So I would say execution would be the biggest thing.
And you talked about some of the young guys coming along. Tell me what the quarterbacks have looked like in practice over the last week or so.
Yeah, well, because of the bye week, they got a lot of opportunities, and I think they're coming along, progressing mentally and also physically. But I think they've been pretty good.
We'll go to Blake.
Yeah, Brandon, kind of following up on Jimmy's question there. You mentioned the open week was good for some of the young guys. Who were some of those young guys that impressed you last week?
Yeah, well, some of the guys like Malachi Wideman, Jimmy Holiday, Jimmy Callaway, some of those young skill players, they've came along and they're progressing as well, learning the plays and, just balling out.
What do you like about those guys, those receivers you mentioned there? What kind of catches your eye about them?
Well, the one thing I say is they're able to, make explosive plays. So that, that's great to have in an offense. And that's kind of what I see them bring to the table.
We'll go to David Pascal, then back to Jimmy.
Brandon, given where you're from, is there something special about playing Auburn? I mean, this was a game that wasn't originally scheduled this year.
Yeah, most definitely. Anytime I get a chance to go back home, it means a little more. So most definitely, especially going into the stadium in Auburn, down there in Auburn, Alabama. I live about 30 minutes from there. So, yeah, it'll be very special to me.
And what was your relationship with Auburn as far as your recruitment and everything? And why did you not choose to go there given the proximity?
Yeah, well, in the recruiting process, it came down to 3 schools, Alabama, Auburn, and Clemson. And, Alabama just got the edge because I felt, if I go there, I can learn under Nick Saban and kind of win a championship. So that was kind of the 2 things that kind of led me to go there. Yeah.
Back to Vince.
Brandon, what's your outlet outside of football when you're, say, in this open week and you're away from the facility and you need to kind of get a mental rest? What's that look like for you, separating for football for even a short period of time?
Yeah, well, if I separate from a short period of time, I'd probably say, mostly I might watch Netflix. But, last week I was kind of filled with doing a final exam to graduate. So that's kind of what I was working on throughout the whole week. So I really didn't get a chance to kind of, separate from football. So I was doing school. So if it's not one, it's the other with me, to be honest.
Just another follow-up. With 4 games getting canceled last week, 1 more getting canceled this week, games around college football getting canceled, has that heightened the alertness and the accountability needed for the players to make sure that everyone is not cutting corners or letting their guard down and make sure there's not games continue to be lost?
Yeah, most definitely. We emphasize, control outside the facility. So that's wearing our masks and kind of social distancing and staying away from, the rest of the population. That's kind of what we harp on. So that's been the biggest thing for us. And also we've been able to it's kind of been good in the sense that we've been able to kind of work with the fundamentals as far as last week with football and kind of also go back and watch the film from, the previous games and kind of see what we didn't do well and kind of figure out some of the things like I was talking about execution and maybe a little bit of technique here and there. But it's been great for us to be able to do that part. But we also got to, work on the staying away and social distancing as well.
Trey Wallace.
Hey, Brandon, with your academic career and everything going on right now, is there any other degrees that you can go after? I guess, you've got 3 now. So is there a 4th? And have you thought about something like that down the road after the season?
Yeah, well, after the season and kind of after my career ends, I think I want to get a doctorate in sports psychology. That's kind of the thing that I want to work towards. I love consulting with athletes and kind of doing those things. I've been fortunate enough to have an internship here in the University of Tennessee with Dr. Joe Whitney. And, we're able to work through different scenarios as far as helping athletes and I kind of just pick his brain. And that's what I've been doing, throughout the season. So it's been great. And I'm fortunate to have that opportunity.
Jimmy, did you have a follow-up?
Yes, sir. Sorry, I didn't get to my unmute button quick enough earlier. Brandon, when there have been some players that have opted out 4 games into the season, 5 games in, 6 games in, does that kind of surprise you to see players opt out at this point in the season?
Yeah, it's surprising, but at the same time, I can only control what I can control. So, I don't know their reason. They might have had a good reason, or they might not. I don't really know. So I can't really control it.
I know this season hasn't gone the way you'd hope, 1 loss record-wise. What's the motivation over these last 4 games?
The motivation, to be honest, is really giving my all for Tennessee. About a year ago this time, I decided to come back. And, when I came back, I wanted to help this team and also earn another degree. So that's kind of been my motivation as far as just helping the team and being a leader and doing what I can do to help the team be
Sorry, my screen froze up. Vince, did you have another?
I do. Brandon, tell us what you see from that Auburn D line that you guys will be going up against.
Yeah. Well, the way I would describe them is they're space eaters. You know, they kind of eat up double teams, and they allow their linebackers, which I think is a strength of the defense, they allow them to play well. And so that's kind of what I think about the D line.
All right, thanks, BK. We'll have Bayless and DeAndre shortly.